2005, Pandemic Studios released a sequel to their popular video game Star Wars Battlefront, with new additions to the game such as playable heroes, space battles, and an expanded range of maps. Star Wars Battlefront 2 was widely successful. In essence, Pandemic's Battlefront 2 was an improved and expanded version of the first game, maintaining a majority of the first game's mechanics with vast improvements. It's likely that EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2 will follow this format, that is, advancing their first game with new content and assets. Both of Pandemic's Battlefront games were created on the Zero engine, and seeing how successful EA's version of Battlefront was based on sales, it's likely that they'll be making Battlefront 2 on the Frostbite engine as well. With this assumption, here are the top 5 things players want in EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2. Number 5. Deep customization. One of the things people were disappointed with in EA's Battlefront was the limited customization options. As of recent, DICE has added in more customization features, which indeed has brought in some freshness to the game, but perhaps they could go a little further. While Pandemic's Battlefront games lack customization, DICE can really shine in this aspect. Perhaps instead of character presets, they could allow players to make rebel soldiers that look like them and add in more class options for Imperials. Maybe a leveling system that adds perks to players who are infantry and pilots. Hell, maybe even allow us to be Jedi and Sith. Now that would be an awesome Battlefront game. Can you imagine teams of customized Jedi and Sith fighting against each other? Number 4. Improved fighting mechanics. Speaking of Jedi and Sith fighting each other, I think it's safe to say that the fighting mechanics need to be improved. Sure, their focus wasn't on lightsaber combat in this game, seeing as we only have Luke and Vader who wield sabers. But if DICE is going to focus on the newer films such as Episode 7 and Rogue One, they need to introduce a new combat system. Currently, dueling with lightsabers feels a bit clunky and simplistic. In this day and age, making the weapons combat a little bit more fluid and expansive shouldn't be too hard to implement. There appears to be a lot more weapon combat in the newer movies, so if DICE is serious about making the next Battlefront about the newer movies, an improve for weapons combat is definitely needed. Number 3. Real space battles. One thing that made Pandemic's Battlefront 2 so timeless and fun was the ability to board enemy ships in space. This allowed for strategic warfare, as you could either attack the enemy ship with starfighters in space or plan an invasion to take out their systems from the inside. Not only is this fun today in the single-player mode, but imagine banding together with all your friends online in order to plan your attack or defense. Number 2. Multiple eras. I wasn't going to put this on the list because I have a feeling that EA will make each Battlefront about each era in Star Wars, but by the amount of people still asking for Clone Wars, TFA, and Rogue One content in the same game is mind-boggling. Simply put, a lot of fans want selectable eras in their Battlefront games. I could see the issue with this because playing online would be a disaster. Not only would it divide the community based on game modes and maps, but eras as well. It would be nearly impossible to find a full game a year after its launch with everybody scattered. Personally, however, I like to think of my video games as a sandbox, meaning I don't care if Obi-Wan, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and Kylo Ren are on Hoth fighting each other. I mean, to be honest, if you want an authentic Star Wars story experience, go watch the movies. Battlefront's 2 hero assault on Mos Eisley didn't get an eyebrow raise. Everyone loved it, despite how non-canon it was. I mean, it's a video game after all. You play it for fun, but it's really up to the community. Do you sacrifice authenticity for more eras? I'm curious to see what you guys think. Number 1. Now, being the guy who started Solo Players Matter, which arguably got Skirmish in a Battlefront, this should have been obvious as the number 1 spot. If there was anything people really wanted in EA's recent Battlefront more than anything, I'd have to say it was more options to enjoy the game offline in single player. Pandemic's Battlefront games had a large variety of single player content, from instant action to a campaign mode to even galactic conquest. This is exactly what Battlefront needs, an equal amount of ways to enjoy the game offline as online, so that both worlds are satisfied. Single player in video games is such an important part of the gaming experience. I'm almost positive more single player content was the biggest request for EA's Battlefront. I'm hoping with EA's second Battlefront they don't just give us a campaign only or instant action only. I hope we see both or see something even better, as single player content is what makes a game so timeless and memorable. It's the reason why people can still play the older Battlefronts and enjoy them today as much as they did over a decade ago. Allow for mods to be a thing. Another reason why Pandemic's Battlefronts are still played today is the ability to mod them. Players can add new character skins, maps, weapons, and so forth. Now obviously this isn't something that would be allowed online, which is why single player content is more relevant in this case. Players could really invent the Star Wars fantasies and stories they've always wanted in all that frostbite glory. I mean, after watching Uninspired Zebra's mods for Battlefront, who wouldn't want to pick up the game and try them out? It keeps the game's single player content fresh.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video and agree with the list here, though my list may seem biased. From reading forums on Reddit and the official Battlefront forums, this seems to be pretty accurate based on my findings. If I missed anything, or if there's anything personal you want added into the game, comment down below. Shatter that like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. See ya.